Greetings, educators. So you've just reviewed a book with your small guided group, and you're preparing to pass out a book to each student. Wait. Before you do, make sure they know exactly what they're supposed to do with that book once they have the book in their hands. You may want to have another chart paper or easel, or maybe a small dry erase board that lets the students know it's written down what you should do while you're reading. Maybe at the beginning of the year you practice just one item on the list of things that I'm about to give you until mastery, and then add another item while the students are reading their Just Right books with you, and then another, and then another. You want to lead them into this slowly. So here are some suggestions as to what students can do while they are reading. They can hold a thumbs up while they're reading without stopping whenever maybe a new character is introduced. Maybe when they see a personal sight word from one of their sight word index cards that you have made. If they see that word in the book, they put a thumbs up. Silently, not saying a word, just reading, whisper reading aloud so that they can hear themselves read. They're not going to stop though and yell out anything. When they get to one of the vocabulary words that you pre-taught or front-loaded before they were given the book, maybe they can get a sticky note that's located somewhere near where they're reading, and they can flag that word. They can put the sticky note next to the word or at the top of the page where that vocabulary word was found. Something else that students can do while they are reading is to write their sticky note thinkings. And what that simply means is you have sticky notes available for the students to write on, a regular sized sticky note, and they write a little code maybe in the left upper hand corner. Let's say that they have a question about something on the page. So they would put a question mark in the upper left hand corner and maybe write down what they wonder or what their question is about something that happened on that page or the page itself. Draw a line to separate that sticky note into a top and a bottom half, so their question or their I wonder statement is at the top. And as they continue reading, if they find the answer, they can write the answer at the bottom of the sticky note. More information on sticky note thinking to come, because this is a very involved activity, but it's very worthwhile because it helps the students to actually think and comprehend while they're reading instead of just calling words. So there are many different sticky note icons that students can use. Maybe they can write a C in the upper left-hand corner when they find some interesting information about a character that they would like to write down and not forget. Maybe they can write an S in the upper hand corner of that sticky note if the setting of the story changes or when the setting of the story is introduced. If they see something that's important, they write an exclamation point in the upper left-hand corner of the sticky note and write down what was important in that particular story on that particular page. Something else that needs to be written on the sticky note thinkings are the page numbers of the book, if the book has a page number. Some picture books don't have page numbers, but the texts that do, write down the page number as well. But again, more information to come on sticky note thinking. Last but not least, while the students are performing these tasks and reading and thinking to themselves and writing down what they're thinking about and showing thumbs up, the teacher will listen to one student in that group, maybe two students, but one at a time. It depends on the time that you have. And while listening to this one student, the teacher will give an informal running record. This is just, you can use a blank sheet of paper and the student can read about 50 to 100 words, and you are writing down check marks for the words that are said correctly, or maybe nothing at all, and write down words that the students have trouble with. And informal means you're not going through the entire gamut of a running record. You just want to make some quick notes, maybe denote what the child did well when reading, and then note what the child needs to work on when reading. When the child has gotten to a designated page, then you conference with that student one-on-one right there in that small group that you have, but you're just talking one-on-one to one student. And you can let that student know, Johnny, you did very well when you A, B, C, or D. And Johnny, I noticed that maybe we can work more on A when you're reading next time. Something dealing with fluency or comprehension. Because after the informal running record, you want to ask a comprehension question just to see if they're calling words or if they're really understanding what they read. And once the teacher gives Johnny something to work on, then the teacher will model that strategy with the student and then write down what needs to be worked on in the reading journal on a special page called Reading Goals, and put the day's date on that page as well. These reading goals can be revisited maybe a week or two later when you are doing a running record again for this particular student, and you are checking to see if this student has mastered the reading goal that the two of you agreed upon, or maybe that you just assigned this student. And if the reading goal has been reached, then write down the date that the reading goal was reached and come up with a new reading goal. This helps students to move along in their reading proficiency, whether it be fluency, comprehension, both. And it's a one-on-one activity so that you actually know what's happening with that student, where they are, where they need to go, and it's an individualized, tailored way to help the student progress in reading. Now, usually I listen to one reader, give an informal reading running record to one reader at every setting or every time we meet. And then the next time I meet with that group, which hopefully is the next day if I only have about 3 groups. But if I have 4 reading groups, it would be every other day that I meet with a group. So the next time I meet with the group, I'm going to listen to yet another person, another student read and give an informal running record. And then the next time I meet with that group, the 3rd student. Then the 4th on the next time we meet. Then the 5th on the next time we meet. Then the 6th on the next time we meet. And then when I get back to student 1 again, then I'm looking to see, okay, let me hear you read, Johnny. Let me listen to your fluency. Let me ask you a few comprehension questions. If Johnny was mastering or mastered that reading goal, then I put the finish date and we come up with a new reading goal. These are ideas that you can use while the students are reading in guided reading. Again, 2 great websites that are free, full of information, full of more tips as to what readers can do while they are reading in a small group with you, and more information on running records. You can look at Jan Richardson, guidedreading.com, or thedaily5.com. Now, another thing I want to address is, what are the other students doing while you're working with a small reading group? Well, the Daily 5 or the dailycafe.com website has many ideas that the students can rotate to different stations and work on word work and writing and reading with a partner and listening to reading, many different things. I've tried that. For me, it doesn't work as great as I'd like it to work. During workshop time, whether it be reading workshop, math workshop, or writer's workshop, I, the teacher, want to feel nice and calm and relaxed. I don't want to feel stressed out and wondering what's Johnny and Susie doing over there in that corner. I don't think they're on task. And then here I am not paying attention to the readers at my desk. They're not getting my full attention. So what I do in my classroom is, while I'm working with a small reading group, the students that are sitting and not working with me, sitting at their seats, they're simply whisper reading to themselves. They're just right books and practicing the skill that was learned in the mini lesson. Now, once a group has met with me, I will give them an assignment to complete, possibly. Again, it depends on the age of the students. Maybe I will just tell them to continue practicing on what we practiced on in our small guided reading group. But again, the best way for students to become great readers is for them to practice reading. Comprehension and sticky note thinkings can be continued at their seats independently while they are whisper reading. And a requirement of maybe 2 or 3 sticky notes per independent reading session or per day is required to make sure the students are actually thinking about what they read and comprehending, asking and answering questions versus just calling out words. That way, I can see Johnny and Sally out there sitting at their seats. I know that Johnny and Sally are reading. I know that they're writing down what they're thinking on their little sticky notes, because I've given them a 2 or 3 sticky note requirement before a reader's workshop is over. I don't have to worry about, is someone off task? Are they back there playing? Are they sleeping in the corner? Because the way my room is situated, I can see everyone at their seats from my guided reading table. And right now it's summer vacation, so I'm not allowed to go in my school at this time. But when the school year begins, I will definitely show a video on my classroom arrangement, my seating arrangement, my classroom library, and the system of checkout in a little more detail. Okay, stay tuned for what happens after you read for that day the particular designated pages in your small guided group. Okay, because again, if you're reading up to page 5 today in a 12-page book and that student gets to page 5, guess what? Don't yell out, "I'm finished." Don't sit there and stare at me. Go back to page 1 and keep reading until I stop you. Okay? Because the teacher is in control of the group, not the student. Once again, thank you for joining me, and I'll be seeing you soon.